hello, this is Unlock. Today we're interviewing Isaiah Kunkel from Chainyard as well as Gigo Joseph. We did a full-fledged written interview, and this is the video piece that's going with it. So thank you for being here today.
Thanks, Lara.
Thanks, Lara. Thanks for having us.
Great. So Isaac, I wanted to ask the first question to you. Can you provide a small brief on Chainyard and your activity in blockchain?
Absolutely. So a little bit about Chainyard to help set the context for the answer. But Chainyard is a IT consulting company, and we specialize in digital transformation. And our primary way of doing that is with blockchain, but we also do DevOps and cloud infrastructure, security, customer experience, AI, ML, all the things you generally hear. But with our blockchain experience, we've been working with the open source project Hyperledger, specifically with Fabric primarily for the last 5 years. So we have deep experience. We are a Hyperledger certified service provider, and we work across industries. We have focused on several of them, but the work has fortunately come across pretty much all industries. Right now we're working on in manufacturing and healthcare and transportation are 3 big projects that we're doing across the globe, including one in MENA.
That's great. Thank you. Gigo, so the next question is for you. One of your core, products has been TYC, which is Trust Your Supplier. How important is this platform for companies globally, as well as in the MENA region? And just an explanation, a short explanation of what it is.
Yeah, thanks, Lara. So the Trust Your Supplier is a production platform. It is a Hyperledger Fabric-based platform which Chainyard owns and operate, and we developed this in partnership with IBM. So the solution is to just explain what the solution is. It provides a digital identity for every supplier. So the supplier can be onboarded into a buyer's network, swiftly, very quickly. If you are in the procurement space, you know how challenging it is onboarding a supplier into a buyer's network, right? It could take, 30 days to 3 months, depends on how big the buyer organizations are, the questionnaires, right? So buyer asks supplier a set of questions, supplier submit the answers to each of them, then it goes for validation with the verifiers. Then after that, they are onboarded into their own ERP systems. Then after that, then there's a maintenance process starts, right? Some of the answers expired, he has to resubmit those. So the questions are typically financial statements, it could be insurance, the company policies, or the board member information, those kind of things, right? So we realize this is a huge potential for using blockchain so that the digital identity of the supplier can be cross-utilized across multiple buyers. So if you look at the network today, we have more than 24 Fortune 200 companies who joined the platform, and there are primarily 4 kind of personas. There's a persona of buyer. If you look at companies like IBM, Lenovo, Vodafone, Nokia, UPS, JetBlue, SAP, not SAP, but SAP coming as a business network, American Express, JP Morgan. So these are the companies, large set of companies who joined, etc., companies joined as buyers. And the second persona is actually set of validators, right? These are the companies who come in and validate these supplier information, right? Like companies like Dun & Bradstreet joined, EcoVadis, Rapid Rating, etc. And the third personas are actually the supplier themselves, so that we have more than thousands of suppliers in the network. I mean, because of COVID, it is slowed down a bit. Otherwise, we could have more suppliers by this time. So then the last is that is actually the business network. They take data from this trusted blockchain network. They extract data and provide additional services on top of it. So if you look at Trust Your Supplier from a MENA or Dubai perspective, right? You are aware of the Dubai government's blockchain strategy. And one of the blockchain strategies called industry creation. So basically what it does is it is about enabling and creating an environment for the business to grow. And if you look at post-pandemic, post this COVID, one of the major issues is trust. we found in the supply chain, trust in the supply chain, right? So we found an issue with during the, so this is a very good example, right? Which post-pandemic, how this blockchain could be used, especially trust your supplier. So during the initial stages of the COVID, in the US, we found a really big shortage of the PPE, the personal, protective equipment, right? And hospitals and organizations find it very challenging to buy these equipment because because of the lack of trust, lack of availability of lead times, inventory, and all those things. So immediately IBM and Chainyard put together a solution called Rapid Supplier Connect, which leverages Trust Your Supplier. We had we used Trust Your Supplier for the digital identity of the or trust of the suppliers, and IBM Sterling solution for the inventory and the lead time of the all the equipment, right? So in Dubai, when he's trying to create the first blockchain city, or Dubai and rest of the Middle East, try to grow that, having a digital identity of each of the supplier opens them the global market, right? And that creates a trust for them. So it is a very critical component for the industry creation aspect of the for the government. Isaac, if you want to add anything additional to that, feel free to do.
No, other than just Trust Your Suppliers has really had a fast acceleration over the last year, and the pandemic actually accelerated adoption, and specifically in the healthcare, as Gigo noted, with PPE. So we're really proud of that network, and trying to help healthcare networks and frontline workers, get the quality equipment they need on time. So that was big, and we see that being able to be expanded beyond just healthcare and the pandemic to all supply chains, and going forward becoming a standard of being able to have a more trustful relationship. So we think Trust Your Supplier is going to be one of the world's biggest blockchain networks, and we see imitation going on by other companies across the globe. So we know that there is something real there, and a lot of others are seeing value there as well in that use case. So we're excited to be the leader in that space.
Great. I think it's a very good use case as well. And I'm glad that you've done something on this level and within Chainyard. Since we're talking about the MENA region, today, Isaac, what are you doing in the MENA region? Are you working on any projects, and in which sectors?
So if you look at Trust Your Supplier, right? I mean, Trust Your Supplier, we have two large adapters from the MENA region. One from the oil industry, and due to COVID, it is delayed the onboarding aspect. And the Trust Your Supplier is primarily can be used places where you have large number of suppliers, thousands of suppliers, right? And the second on the consulting side, we are working with UAE government. One of the large project which is going on there through one of our channel partners in Middle East.
That's excellent. And I'm sure you're going to have more and more coming up, right? In the future.
Yeah, we are. I mean, these are the only confirmed cases. We are actually working on a few large tenders.
That you can't talk about right now.
Right.
Yeah. No, we certainly think we think like across the globe we'll see it in all different sectors. Mm-hmm. But a lot with government, obviously, in the Middle East, especially with Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates, both taking a leadership role in terms of digitalization and blockchain. So I think we'll continue to see that, and we'll see other industries in the region want to follow that lead, as well as just kind of use blockchain, which is the most important part, to create trust and innovate in their industries. So.
I totally agree, and I hope that, yes, please, Gigo.
Just before the interview, like Isaac was saying, that we thought there probably is a slowdown even in the blockchain, but actually we were wrong. We see that very quick recovery in blockchain, especially due to pandemic. I think people are trying to improve digital transformation, and they see that in order to have a trust in the supply chain is the most critical component in digital transformation. So we are seeing a large number of inquiries these days, and few conversions happened over the last few weeks.
Like I always believe, Unlock it took blockchain to its heart, and that's what we write about, blockchain, digital assets. And I think that the digitization cannot happen without blockchain. and with fewer employees present in the office, with this inability to travel, and the trust factor becomes very important, and you need a system to ensure that for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we come to I think it's our last question. And this is how we kind of start to get into it. How do you see blockchain in the future? Where do you see it proliferating more, in which sectors? And how will you play a role in that?
Sure, I'll take this one. So as I noted before, Chainyard has been doing this for more than 5 years. And over the last 5 years, we've focused primarily on enterprise blockchain, which means we tend to primarily focus on permission blockchain use cases. So that's, and there's a lot of reasons for that. And one of them is regulatory adoption, because we actually see technology, outpacing the innovation. Technology is outpacing how quickly governments can keep up. And because of that, we do see some things changing, and that's going to be because we're going to see there will be greater adoption by the governments in terms of regulatory approvals, and we see that already happening across the globe in terms of central banks looking at digital currencies. So it's an exciting times, but things that we see are the pace of innovation and adoption of blockchain is going to continue to accelerate. We still believe that even though we're 5 years into our journey, and blockchain as a technology is 10 years old, we still think that we're still in the early days, and the best is yet to come. And some of the reasons are platform standards are being developed, and as we create standards, we will have more interoperability, and that's what a lot of big companies are waiting for, to make sure that they're not making big investments in platforms that, quite honestly, will become dinosaurs before they even get going. So standards are important. We also see that, since we focus on permission, but we also see that permission and private blockchains will both continue to be leveraged in solutions, because there are different use cases where they shine, and sometimes they're going to be used jointly. So we think that the use of both of those types of blockchains is going to become a bigger and bigger item. And specifically, you can use the public blockchain to anchor certain data from your private blockchain into the public domain. And that's really just to create another level of trust. And then the last thing is trust itself. We think the trust via these decentralized networks are going to become a de facto standard on how companies build solutions going forward and how they're brought to the market. It's going to be because you can do it, you're going to have to do it. And in the future, the days of big companies coming in and being able to monopolize a market are going to be less and less, because technologies like blockchain are going to be there to give an alternative path, which is going to be the one that's chosen more frequently. So in terms of the industries themselves, we think banking, finance, insurance, they're going to continue to be big, right? They've led the way, mostly, I think, out of being a little bit concerned that they might be being brought out of the middle. Since they're the middlemen today, they can be literally disintermediated completely. So they're in there innovating, and they're going to continue to lead that innovation. And they are, and they're doing a great job. We think supply chain logistics are going to continue to be huge. Manufacturing will get more and more into it, not only in terms of their supply chain and logistics pieces, but in the manufacturing itself, being able to use blockchain to more securely anchor their manufacturing facilities themselves, as well as creating trust in that process with their partners upstream and downstream, being able to share more data. Some of the other areas that there's innovation going on today, but I think you'll see more and more, and you'll read more and more about it, is healthcare. And I'm waiting for governments to leverage blockchain for more blockchain for digital identities, which I think is going to open up all of the government sectors for more innovation, and healthcare being one of them. And the winner there will be citizens, because they will now have these healthcare records or passports that they'll be able to take with them, and it'll be a lifelong record that they control and own, and it'll be their data. I think you'll see other industries that you don't read too much about continue to innovate and grow. Real estate, entertainment, retail. We think those are some of the ones that are more at the tail end of this, but they're going to all innovate and leverage blockchain as well in new ways. So we're pretty excited about the future, and why we've been doing this for the last 5 years, and look forward to doing it for another 15 or 20, whatever it takes us. And the last thing I'll leave you with is when we stop talking about blockchain, and we just start talking about better solutions, that's when you know blockchain has really made its mark, because it's just going to be in the background doing what it's supposed to do and creating trust, just like the internet did, 25 years ago.
Thank you very, very much. That was very comprehensive.